Welcome to this talk about a novel EO data processing and management environment, the EO4SD lab. I'll be taking you through the background, present the lab itself, a couple of use cases, and the lessons learned. Now, the EO4SD initiative covers various projects, of which the lab is the last one. All previous ones were focused on one specific domain, and we'll be looking at the activities in water and climate first. Now, water and climate produced various services that they delivered to the stakeholders. That included water quality, watershed vulnerability, surface water dynamics. We combined that with water levels, and we produced wetland maps and inventories around the world. And the focus was to deliver specific EU services to the stakeholder themselves in the monitoring and implementation phase of their projects. Now, the lab takes a different approach. It provides a cloud environment where the users can produce their own geoinformation under the lead of our partner, CGI, addressing all stages of a cycle of the projects. Now, from these two EO4SD EO4SD projects that I mentioned, the surface water dynamic and the wetland mapping services have been integrated into the EO4SD lab and are now available. Beside that, we have a couple of other water-related services, so that this is a brief snapshot of the water services in the lab portfolio. We have soil moisture, indices, the surface water dynamics product, the wetland mapping, and as a side product, the water and wetness probability index. Now, the EO4SD lab has various components, among them the EO Wiki, which is for publishing content, a statistical analysis tool, the basket for producing these, using these services to produce your own information, and the EO processor for adaptations to existing services. Now, the use cases I want to present are twofold. One from GIZ, the German ODA agency, where they are working with local communities to build water spreading weirs in dry valleys to prevent soil erosion and also spread out the water to make the environment surrounding this water spreading weir useful for agricultural purposes. Now, we identify suitable project sites with that, together with them. We use the water and wetness frequency product for that. We also use our NDVI product or service for longer term monitoring of vegetational changes. So we had this service that produces single NDVI images, but with the EO processor, we were able to modify this service to produce long time series covering hundreds of images and derive trends from these time series. This is such a trend image where surrounding a water spreading weir, we can see several changes that happened over these years. Vegetation increases and vegetation decreases. And you can see pixel by pixel exactly when certain changes have occurred and to what degree they have occurred. The second use case that I want to talk about is from ADA, Austrian Development Agency, and this takes place around the Lake Victoria area. Now there, 70 million people live today, and that number is expected to double over time, and together with strong economic development, will be running into water scarcity issues at some point. And their activities focus on the mitigation of that, on the development of sustainable water management plans. And for that activity, we support them by mapping basic land cover and mapping the wetland inventory around Lake Victoria, and also mapping rice paddies, but that service is not part of the EO4SD lab portfolio. So we have already done that. On the left-hand side, you can see the basic land cover. We produced the wetland inventory and permanent and temporary water bodies on the right-hand side. And the side products, you get the water frequency, wetness frequency, and the water probability index next to the classification itself. Now, lessons learned thus far are that the awareness of EO or the usability of EO as an information source is rising. So ODAs and IFIs become more open to this, observation services, but some skepticism remains. And the other two lessons learned are basically keep it simple. Keep the user interface simple, keep the services simple. No service will be used if the user interface is too complex, and the services themselves must also be simple and not exceed a certain degree of expertise needed. Thank you very much for your attention, and if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Thank you and goodbye.